said, all our YouTube videos, all our tutorials, everything wrestling based. If we're not doing shows, if we're not doing some crazy antics, it's going to be here at our studio. So get used to it, but don't get used to it because there's lots of plans of making this place look fancy. We've got tons of great stuff that I want to put up on the wall. Some guys that I used to train back in the day, some old legends that I enjoy. We're bringing it all back. This place is going to look spectacular because if you think it looks good now, just wait and see what we got. Today, I got my boy. The big guy is in the house. So me and the big guy here, Ethan, are going to run basically the very lost art. And I do believe it is completely dismembered from professional wrestling today because of all the choreography and all the stunts that everybody does now. We have forgotten the lost art of calling. Nobody knows how to do it, and if they do it terribly, because the idea behind calling your matches is that the fans don't hear it. They don't hear it, they don't see it. You just go about your business, and they think that the product is real. It doesn't look like you're communicating, it looks like you're actually fighting, right? So this is, and quick story, I did a show before pandemic. Before I went to Europe for WXW and PCW, I had a show that was in Ontario, and it was a battle royal. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? A battle royal, and then all these guys got in this ring and said, oh, we'll just call it when we're out there. It was the worst mistake of life because these gentlemen do not know how to call. This generation has no idea how to call, the importance of calling, and to go on the fly. And now, if you want to program your stuff out, be my guest. But if you want stuff that is legit, if you want stuff that means something, if you want to get stuff off of crowd reaction, more organic style wrestling that has always won over anything, then let's learn to call a little bit better. All right. So today, me and the boy I'm just going over the do's and the don'ts. It's a couple of points, and that's all we're hitting today. So when I lock up with Ethan, one of the craziest things I ever see is in this, we're going to show two of these. So one of them is the do not, please do not. So it's a lockup, and when we go into a lockup position, boom, and I grab that go behind on Ethan, because I need, like a lot of guys like this position. Now I hate this position right away, because everybody, when I talk about, just stay there, right? Every time you're in a go behind position, that's immediate danger. That is danger beyond danger. You ever see an MMA guy take a back? As soon as he hits his back, it's basically over. So when you grab backs, when you get on the back, when you got a go behind, you certainly have death coming for that guy. So I would like to try to defend against taking the guy's back very often. But for this demonstration, we're just going to take the back easy. So when we're in a go behind position, this is probably the worst place to call. Ethan, I'm going to grab the head and then you're going to shoot me off and don't bump on the tackle. Worst. Why? Because you got sound traveling everywhere. You can't muffle your face. And even if you did, if you buried it into his back, it's into his back, it's not into his ear. This is the worst place to call, and it happens all the time. When someone takes a go behind on me and they're like, murmur. I'm like, what? Where do we go from here? So anytime you're in a go behind position, you could probably shoot your go behind again, but the idea would be to either grab front face lock and then call nice and low, get down low, and be able to call into that guy's ear. Yeah, you want to get his ear, get on the ear as quick as possible. And with wrestling, it's easy to do because you're always grinding. You should be grinding and driving your head into places, like into his shoulder, into his neck, into his face to get him over. So it makes it easy to do. So that is one of those scenarios. You can call easy if you lock up and you had if you went go behind, you floated over in a front face lock, you called your headlock, your tackle, no bump, but then you floated back into your go behind and into your headlock. It's just one of those things. And look at all that movement you're making. You're making that movement, it looks busy, it looks active, but you're not really doing anything. It's just adding a little bit. The worst part of pro wrestling that I can think of. Ethan, come to the other side. I'm going to show you the worst part of pro wrestling when it comes to calling is this. And when we lock up, boom, I have this big solid lockout and I'm going to drive Ethan back. So a lot of times when you drive a human being back, you should be on the jaw. You should be across the jaw. If you can get the jaw, that's awesome. If you can get the side of the face, awesome. Get on the ridge of the cheekbone, anything like that where you can drive a guy back. You should be able to just drive a dude back by pushing because he's got as much resistance as you. So if you're driving him back against the ropes, say you catch that arm over and then you start calling. Tackle, drop down, hip toss. Wham, and then you send that guy off. You're standing up against the ropes, you're leaning against the ropes, you're about to make big movement, but then there's this awkward pause. Everybody and their grandmother and their 2-year-old daughter or cousin or whatever they brought to that show knows exactly what you're doing. So, to effectively get away from that is really easy. So you make a little bit more of a struggle. Boom, in this position, if you're driving here, his ear is right here. Your head is ahead and his arm is blocking your mouth. So it's perfect that you should be able to call right there. Right? That's the easiest way to call. So as soon as I drive on, as I'm driving, I make it look like it's more of resistance, that I'm not pushing him back easy. So it should never be easy. So as I'm driving back and it looks like he's resisting, then I can talk to him. Duck my clothesline, big shoulder tackle, drop down hip toss. Wham! In this position, I got him. He's off. He ducks my clothesline, big tackle, drop down, takes a big hip toss. Really nice and easy. It's not that hard. Another thing, we got one more. I will do one more for you. This is one of those things, and I do believe it's in Mick Foley's book. He talks about it where they do a spot and they both go for back body drop and they both collide with heads because one said back body drop, the other one thought he was doing the back body drop, and the other one thought he was trying to tell him to give the back body drop, and they just came down at the same point. It's a funny story. It's funny because it happens to us all. And the best way to do this, the best way to navigate around missed calls like that is very simple. When I want Ethan to give me something, I will say, Ethan, give a clothesline. And if I grab Ethan and I'm about to give him my own clothesline, I'll say, Ethan, take a clothesline. Give, please give. Give me a headlock takeover. Give a snapmare. Give a power bomb. Never. And then take a body slam. Probably not. Take a headlock takeover. Take a snapmare. These are the ways we can get around it. Just don't say clothesline. Don't whip him off that rope and say clothesline. Who's clothesline? Who's clothesline? Because if you're not saying it, I'm coming off and I'm going to throw hard. And if it hits you in the face, it's not on me. That's the way it is. So think about those things. Give, take, don't rest up against those ropes, and make sure that you're always in earshot. That's only the beginning. We're going to go through a series of calling to make sure that your calling is perfected. And let's please, workers, let's bring this industry back to a bit of this. Let's bring a little bit of authenticity. Let's bring it back a little bit more organic wrestling. Let's call a little bit more. Thank you very much for watching.